Girl, hurry up. The episode's about to start. Edified, divine, shine, thrive. No lies, a new mind. Bitch, don't forget to subscribe. Get designed to edify. Skip the line and edify.
Hello, ladies.
Let me stop. Your girl is back and better than ever. Period. This weekend was so amazing, y'all. And I cannot wait to tell y'all how my weekend went. So first things first, it's Women's History Month. And that right there, I'm just so happy to celebrate. I love being a woman. I love the trajectory that's happened for women. You know, women, we continue to go a long way. We continue to create life. You know, we're beautiful creatures. We complex. We kind of crazy. But at the same time, we are doing the damn thing. I mean, there was a time where we couldn't do anything. And our only purpose in life was to have babies, cook and clean, and just make a man happy. But now we are bosses. We are leaders. We are innovative. We are mothers still. We are fashionistas. We are trendsetters. You know, we are musicians. We are artists. We are CEOs. We're so many things. And it's so beautiful to see that we continue to grow and just, you know, girls run the world. Like, that's a real thing. Black women right now, especially, we continue to have our own businesses, making money, you know what I'm saying? Making sure that we sometimes are the head of our own household and holding it down for our children and our families. And it's beautiful to watch. Last episode that I did, I talked about how a lot of Black women are forced to be that way. But when I think of women, no matter what race you are, we all are continuing to work so hard and not have to depend on anybody else, which is a beautiful thing. So happy Women's History Month. So many women in the past have set the tone for us to follow. And I aspire to be one of those women who one day people can say, you know what, I learned this and that from Kennedy. I was able to grow from Kennedy's podcast and see what Kennedy went through and, you know, look at Kennedy as an inspiration. So it's a beautiful thing to be a woman. This past Sunday, my church had a women's conference and the theme was Encounter God, Step into the Light. Woo! When I tell y'all I was delivered, I was boohoo crying. I mean, snot running down. All of the messages that I received throughout the weekend was perfect. And to summarize it all, long story short, it was a 3-day conference. First night, it was worship, like intense worship. 2 messages from some ladies that go to my church. And it talked about how as women, we need to get out of the darkness and step into the light. Social media, other media, the culture likes to bring us into the darkness. And what is darkness, right? Darkness is shame, self-pity, not being pure, jealousy, gossip, envy, anything that God does not want for us to do, that is darkness, okay? And a lot of us sometimes normalize the darkness, and that just really holds us in even longer. So what we want to do is step into the light. And what is the light? See, the light is kindness. It's being pure. It's putting God first. It's having faith and not fear. It's walking into your calling. It's motivating other women to do better because you don't think that they're going to do better than you. And so that is the light. A lot more things go into the light, by the way, but those are some things that I put in my notes. So there's many more traits of being in the light, but pretty much it all encompasses you being a woman of God and you putting him first. So that was the first night. It was really good. And that was the night that I really felt like I encountered God myself. It was really great. Second day, in the morning, they had little workshops like financial literacy class, a beauty workshop, a mini workout. Followed it up with a girls panel, and there were really good questions asked about, you know, sex before marriage, how to abstain from that. I asked a question, which is how to be a woman of God. Other questions about, you know, why is it that people continue to like kind of look down on when you want to do things the holy way? Why do they want to force you almost to do things of this world? And the panelists had really good responses. So it was an amazing panel. And then we followed up with my first lady. That night we had worship and she did a sermon, which was amazing as well. Once again, it's just like, as a woman, I can say that we really do go through a lot of things that people don't understand and people will never know what it's like to be a woman. But I can tell you, like, I have gone through so many questionable times of wondering, should I act this way? Should I wear this? How should I carry myself so that I can fit in with society, right? And that's not healthy. I'm at a place in my life where I don't care about society. I don't care about what the world tells me I should do, how I should look, how I should carry myself. My foundation is God. I'm a woman of God. I recently posted a Instagram reel actually about that, about how I'm not a high value woman or whatever. I did a episode about that. I think it's episode 2. I'm a woman of God. And so when I think of this month, it's amazing that my women's conference was this month, and it was so great to continue to connect with new minds, see a lot of women worship, see a lot of women get on their knees and pray and ask for forgiveness and be able to actually step out of that darkness together. Peep what I said, together, okay? Together, and step into the light. It's so easy to get caught up. I'm telling you, it's so easy to get caught up in the Instagram models and what they do, and the city girls and what they do. But when you walk in grace, when you walk in confidence, and when you know that God has said, you know what, you're my daughter, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are worthy of so much, you just start to walk differently. You really do. I've been struggling cutting off certain guys and dating, and I realized, y'all, I am not in the place to date. Like I'm not even ready to date, because there's so many things that I need to continue to work on as a woman, and being my own woman, and continuing to not get into these dark places, so that when I am a wife one day, I'm in the light. When I am a mother, I'm in the light. And even if those things don't come to me, when I'm alone, I don't feel like I'm in the darkness, but I still recognize that I am light. Like, I realize I don't need to be dating right now. Literally right before I made this episode, I just had to cut off a guy because, the effort was just subpar. It's like, I don't need that right now. And I think that that's what God's been trying to show me. I have been struggling with purity. I'll be open and honest about that. And this conference really opened up my eyes to show me that all I'm hurting is myself by being in the darkness. So I think that conference is pre-recorded. The church is called United Church Atlanta. And if you're in Atlanta, you got to come visit. It's an amazing church. It's not a mega church. It's very small, but at the same time, I feel like that's what I love about the church. I feel like I get to know people more. I know my pastors personally. I love Lady G. So make sure y'all check out United Church ATL. I'm going to put it in the bio section of this episode. But yeah, that's how my weekend went. It was great. I encountered God. I feel renewed. I feel refreshed. I feel reset. So today I went to church, and I was just really thinking about, like, what is my episode gonna be about, you guys? Because I've low-key been having like a brain fart. I don't know what's been going on. Your girl's trying to get a job. She got her first offer, and I'm just kind of going through a lot right now. So I'm like, what am I gonna talk about, God? Like, what should I talk about? And I really want to sit here in this conversation of womanhood, since I just left a women's conference. So when I think of like being a woman, we have to talk about the feminist movement, and we have to talk about what the feminist movement actually means. So I was reading a book called Hood Feminism like last month, finally finished it. Took me a while, but it's an amazing book. And that book focuses on the feminist movement from a Black woman's point of view. So when I think about important women who have been in history and who have made headlines and stuff like that of change, I think about how a lot of them say that they are feminists. Like, I'm a feminist. And I've started to ask myself, what is feminism? Everybody has a different definition. And right now I'm looking at an article. And so it says right here that feminism has come in various waves. And it started off being about addressing reproductive rights, voting rights, domestic violence, the wage gap, parental leave, basic needs, security. And that's really like the main waves when you think about feminism. There's a time where, y'all, we couldn't even vote. Like, how am I going to have a president and you only send my husband out to vote? This person, I was about to call him a MFer. I'm working on my cursing. This guy gets to vote, but I'm still in the household. I'm still being affected by the laws. But you're telling me I can't vote? Are you crazy? I would not want to be here during those times. God bless the women who were there during those times, because I would have lost my mind. The first wave of the feminist movement, and occurred like mid 1800s, early 1920s, that type of, area. And it's like, dude, as a woman, we literally set the tone for so many families that I find it very hard to believe that there was a time where our voices were so silenced. Because if you think about it, like, y'all ever get into an argument with y'all's moms? And if your mom ignores you, next thing you know, it just feels weird in the house. Like, next thing you know, your siblings acting weird, your dad's looking at you like, I could try to talk to your mama for you, but like, your mother is the foundation. And that's for most households where the mom is like, she sets the tone. Mama's mad, everybody gonna feel it. Mama don't cook, people gonna starve. Like, women really do set the tone for so many things. And even aside from families, even when you think of churches, or when you think of volunteer services, I really see a lot of women. I see a lot of women serving, a lot of women being nurturers. And so without us, I just don't see how a lot of change will happen. And I just circle that back to say, like, when it comes to not voting or the wage gap and things like that, we've come a long way for some of those things. But now I see kind of like a shift of feminism in this new culture. And this new culture is so crazy. But I think that now feminism is no longer about our rights. And at this point, I think it is heavily evolved into something that I'm not quite proud of, which is, I think that feminism is starting to turn into more of like a sexual movement. And this is my personal opinion, so you can get mad, be mad, stay mad. But I realize that while we still have work to do, for example, the wage gap, read an article about that it hasn't really changed, I still believe that women are given a lot of opportunities, and I still believe that women have come a long way. So we can't necessarily say that we just don't have any say-so, and we just don't have any movement, any wave. The focus has shifted into things that I think are needed, right? Needed versus things that I think are being pushed on us, which is sexuality at the forefront. So when I was reading the book Hood Feminism, the Black woman's point of view of feminism was that we didn't have a lot of things in common with white women as far as our needs. Like, we had to think about, how are we going to eat? How are we going to stay away from gun violence? How are we going to be protected from things that happen within our family? How are we going to stay away from police brutality? We had to think about all these additional stressors versus white women. Their main point was like, look, I want to be able to work. I don't want to be in the house all day. I hate being a housewife. But women, Black women, we didn't always get, or majority of us did not get that privilege of even saying that we were housewives to begin with. So when I look at the new feminist walk, the feminist movement, and I'm doing my research, I see that it's always about sexuality. Well, I should be able to do this with my body. I should be able to show my body. I should be able to have sex with whoever I want to have sex with. And I want to put this into context of how I think feminism is starting to evolve in a bad way. And I want for us to put our thinking caps on. I want for us to think, what makes women stronger than men at times, right? What makes us the foundation, okay? And it's not centered around our sexuality. So point number one, ladies, we are more than our bodies. Feminism is starting to take a turn for what we have to offer intellectually and mentally to now I think it's focused more on physical. So I've looked at some articles, and when I see the feminist movement, they still do talk about things like our living situation, the way that we are treated by men, how even with the Me Too movement, there isn't quite equality when it comes to our treatment of how we feel, what we say when we come out and speak against domestic violence. And even in other countries, there are a lot of women who have no voices still. So we still have a lot of work to do. But in the United States, we really do over-sexualize ourselves. And ladies, we are more than our bodies. When I think about this, I think of something like the Slut Walk. And I think of Amber Rose's take on feminism. Amber Rose, super hot, bomb. I don't know if you guys know this, but she really was a model. Like, I think that everything else has started to kind of taint over her the same way that we do Eve. You know, in the Bible, we don't remember Eve for anything else but her screw up. And I think that Amber Rose has taken on the same effect. Amber Rose was a model. She was a credible model. And then she started to date some men in the industry. She was married at one point to Wiz Khalifa. If you guys don't remember, she's not just a baby mom. She was a wife. She was done wrong in that marriage. She divorced Wiz Khalifa. And then she ended up having some other relationships, like with 21 Savage, some other guy who's now dating Cher. She has a child with that man. And the other day, she was saying how trash men are. But then I revert back to the Slut Walk, and I think all she has told women to do is to get naked and to love your vagina and to share your vagina with the world. Amber Rose may be so sweet. Yes, she's hot. I guarantee she's probably a really great person. But I think that she has allowed her sexuality to be at the forefront. And a lot of women think that that is the new way of being a feminist. It's to say, have sex with everybody, fuck everybody, let everybody see you butt naked because you're confident. And let me tell you something, I'm super confident about my body. I actually got lipo and a BBL a couple years ago, and I'm probably gonna get around too. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not against plastic surgery. But when it comes to showing my body to strangers, when it comes to just getting wild and loose for everybody to see, I just have so much more class than that. And it has nothing to do with confidence. It is your body. You have the right to do what you want to do. But on this podcast, we talk about what God wants us to do with our bodies. And as women, there's a way to still look and feel sexy and not be naked. There is a way. Look at someone like a Coi Leray. While sometimes she does like to get butt naked, I like when she dresses up kind of like a guy. She has cool street swag. You know, there's so many other women in industries. Gabrielle Union, I don't think I've ever seen her just butt naked. You know, other women, Michelle Obama, other women out there that don't have to just show you their bodies. And if that's the new feminist movement, I don't want to be part of it. Because what you start to do is you start to then shame the women who don't want to do it. You know, it's funny because you know the world's starting to go somewhere bad when you try to make something bad out of something good. Ladies, if you are one of those women out there who don't want to be an Instagram model, you don't want to show your butt, you don't want to get your butt done, you don't want to do those things, it is totally fine. And you are not an outlier. You are someone who I would say is more closely a woman of grace versus a woman of this world. And that is where we start to succumb to peer pressure. You don't have to fit in with those women who make it seem like being a slut is okay. To label yourself a slut is very strange. And we're in a time and an age now where women don't understand really how to use their power all the way. I don't think a lot of women do. Because if you really knew how to use your power, you would know, bruh, I don't got to get butt naked for nan man. He gonna pay just to talk to me. He's gonna try to get my attention if he cares for me. You know what I'm saying? I have more to give than this vagina. And if anything, if this vagina is so special, then why is it easy to share with everybody? Why is it so easy to show to everybody if it's so special? So let's also stop the lie about how special your vagina is. Can we stop that? Can we really stop that? I think that's the problem. That also starts to feed into our ego and our pride. Now you want to share it with everybody because you think it's so good. You like, oh, this thing's so good. Oh, this thing's so good. He gonna love this thing. Girl, can I be honest with you? If you don't, I was about to say something, but let me rewind. If you get turned on and your thing's working, any guy's gonna say it's good. That's just that. And it's not probably special to that guy. It's probably good in the moment, but after that, it's on to the next thing. Ladies, we have to stop using our bodies as collateral, and we need to start using our bodies as trophies. Stop with the slut walking. Stop listening to the Amber Roses, the Black Chinas. I know those women have gotten rich off their bodies. I know those women have gotten rich, but see, the thing is, how is their soul? What is their soul? Because Amber Rose, yeah, she's got many a bags, right? But she still obviously is not fulfilled in the dating world. She still feels like she's not wanted from men. She still gets cheated on. She's gotten cheated on by, I think, every guy she's dated except for 21 Savage that I know of, or Kanye West. Yeah, so maybe she's gotten cheated on from 2 men that she had children by. So you do the math. If you're so confident, if your pussy's so bomb, then why are you still being cheated on? This is the key here, ladies. Respect yourself. Put your bodies at the forefront of respect. And I can tell you from experience, I had a whole phase in college, and that was probably the lowest time of my life where I had sex with guys, and I felt the most insecure and I felt the most down about myself. As I continue to walk into a space of abstinence and actually saying, you know what? Dude, if you want to have sex with me, you're going to have to come harder than a couple dates and dating me a couple months. And even me being your girlfriend, you're just going to have to mean more than that. Because this thing is special to me. To me, it's special. When I told y'all earlier it's not special, the guys don't think it's special. I'm just going to go ahead and blow up their spot. Men don't think your thing is special. They just think that it's like normal. You know what I mean? Men know how to separate the two. But to you, your thing should be special. Your virginity should be special. Your body should be special. And therefore, don't let modern society, the culture of today, trick you that feminism is being pro-naked, pro-hoe, pro-slut. Let's stop that. That's the first thing that I see it starting to evolve into, and I want to go ahead and hit the pause on that, because that right there is going to really start to change the trajectory of the value of women. Point 2, the trans movement is really kind of fucking with my head, and I have nothing against the LGBTQ community. I want to say that over and over again, but as a woman, I think womanhood is starting to be questioned. So this is going to affect the feminist movement. This is something I can see turning into something I'm not going to be proud of, because at this point, the question is, what is a woman, right? When I think of a woman, I think of certain chromosomes. I think of you being able to have your period. I think of you being able to breastfeed because you actually have true breasts that secrete milk. I think of you being able to give life. I think of you having emotions, like intense emotions that you cannot even explain. It's like a hormonal thing. One thing that I realized a couple years ago, and I was told this by a guy in college. He was like, dude, the difference between women and men, we literally are not made up of the same components. We are truly different creatures. That is the truth. We are nothing like men, which is why I think it's funny when women like Amber Rose try to make us into sluts and all that stuff, because, dude, men can have sex with women all day long and never feel anything for them. That is not going to happen for us. If you don't suppress your emotions, if you just allow yourself to be in your feminine energy, you're going to feel something. We're not the same as men. So when I think of womanhood and the trans movement, I am truly at a loss of words for how we're going to be able to solve this. I see that we continuously are in a culture where it's all about feeling good and it's all about making yourself feel good. So if I want to become a man tomorrow, then I can get some surgeries done and then I say I'm a man. And to be honest, I've seen some weird things on YouTube where, like, this one girl wants to be an elf. She got prosthetic elf ears. She wears like an elf little outfit or whatever, and she really identifies as an elf. We're in a sick world where it's easy for you to lie to yourself and make sense of your fantasies. And it's sick. But at the end of the day, being a woman is more than having wide hips, big boobs, and a vagina. It is literally an internal thing. And women, we have to make sure that we keep that sacred. We can't let the media and let this movement make us change our minds otherwise, because God says that's not normal. God said that how you came into this world, that is how you are. That is really who you are. It is who you are. I saw on YouTube a couple months ago, some man, and I forgot his name, but he's done intense research about the trans community. And he was on a talk show and he was questioning a man who identified as a woman. And he's like, so what makes you a woman? And what makes you this? And what makes you that? And when I tell you, he was literally just lighting this lady man up. He was just like, just lighting her and him up. So bad, because it didn't make sense. And I don't even think that the lady man could really express themselves and really make it make sense. It's so much fantasy involved in being a woman and how it is to be a woman that I think some people don't really get what we go through. And to take away womanhood and to make it seem like, it's okay for men who have transitioned to compete with us in sports? Have you lost your mind? Are you serious? That is complete BS. It's things like that where it's like they're trying to almost erase women as a whole. And I see it more with women than men. It's kind of weird. Because there are women who transition into men, but there's more men who transition into women. Matter of fact, I need to go ahead and look this up so I can do some statistics. Okay, so sadly, I literally just did like an hour of research. I'm really pissed off. I wasted so much time, but I couldn't find anything. But what I'm saying is this, though. You hear of more trans women than you hear of trans men. Okay, so that leads me to believe that more men convert over to being women than the opposite. And it's starting to make people question what is womanhood, because these surgeons are performing extreme miracles, and it really makes you think that being a woman is all about a body. And that's not what it's all about. It's really about the emotional part of us, the intuition. That's another thing. Women have true intuition. You ever sometimes, like, let's say that you're dating a guy. You ever date a guy and something in your gut tells you that it's wrong, or you don't know what it is. You don't know why something's telling you something's wrong, but you feel it. And next thing you know, you find out something's wrong. He's cheating. He's pulling back from you. Something is wrong. It is a woman's intuition. Men do not have that. And so just because you go through a couple of surgeries does not mean that you're going to have these God-given things that he has given to women. I feel like people are going to get so upset with what I'm saying. I really honestly don't care what you do with your body. Like, I'm one of those people. I'm living my life. I'm sharing my truth. I don't care what you do. But what I'm saying is, don't try to just completely wipe away womanhood. Because see, I'm a woman. So at that point, you're offending me. You are offending me. To say that it's okay for a man to compete with women and win things is not okay. I even read in the news that recently there was a pageant and a trans woman won over other women. I believe that trans, since they are so prominent in representing their communities, they should have different leagues and different things so that they can equally be on playing grounds with one another. I don't think that it's fair to make it seem like just because you got a couple of surgeries, now that qualifies you to be a woman. It's weird. And I see the feminist movement kind of starting to embrace it in a way. If we embrace that too much, they are literally going to start saying that there's no such thing as a gender. And at that point, women, what are we really here? Like, what are we going to stand for? A lot of us say that we want to be treated equally. And I'll be real. Do we really? Do we really want to be treated equally? Because let's be real. Women, we get in cheaper at the clubs. Sometimes, matter of fact, most of the time, we get in free. Do we really want to be treated equally as men? I mean, they have their advantages. We have ours. I'm okay living with it. Do we really want for all of a sudden there to be no such thing as a gender? That would really F up people's lives. Really F up worlds. So consider looking into this. Consider doing your research. Don't want to sit on that too long. But number 3, we got to stop thinking that we can be like men. In the feminist movement, there's so much independence to the point where we think that we are like men. And I'm going to stick to sex. I'm going to stick to that because I see so many women tricking themselves and thinking that they can move like men, but we are not copying the right things from men. Steve Harvey said it best. Think like a man. But a lot of us think that just having sex with a lot of people makes us men. And that is not true at all. So let's start from square one. What's the difference between men and women when they hang out in social groups? I'm gonna allow you guys to think for a second. I'll tell you. Men can hang out for hours and never talk about us, not once. Isn't that crazy? They can be around each other and talk about everything but women. But every time I hang around girls, we end up talking about men. We need to start learning from these men and focus on ourselves and find our own hobbies and find our own passions and stop thinking that this world revolves around them. It is very contradictory to say that, oh, I'm pro-feminism. I'm pro-feminism, and all you do is talk about men, boy crazy chicks. If you're boy crazy, cut that stuff out. Especially if you're in your mid to late 20s, cut it out and grow up. You should have other things to talk about. You should have other passions, other purposes in life aside from talking about men, because I want to tell you guys the truth. They don't talk about us. I have 2 younger brothers. I have a father who keeps it 100. Yes, they talk about us, but it ain't the way we talk about them. That's one thing we can learn from them, to focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. Stop always referring and revolving everything about guys, because the truth is they don't really think about us all the time, which is why we're the ones who end up being mostly heartbroken by them. We're the ones who get played. We literally make our whole lives about boys. And we've been honestly conditioned to do this since middle school, elementary school. I mean, I'll keep it real. There was a time where I just boy, But I just, after a while, started to realize the lies that have been told to us. And the truth is, it's mostly the girls who don't really overthink about guys who end up being married and end up keeping a guy. The boy crazy girls, the girls who sleep with everybody, yeah, I mean, they sleep with everybody, but like, who's really cuffing long term? The guys know, like, this girl likes everybody. This girl's for everybody. So it's easy to get with this girl. But it's really the women who have things going for themselves, the women who set boundaries, the women who are focusing on themselves, who all of a sudden they slip, they fall, and they're married. You know what I'm saying? It's really funny the way you see it like that, but that's really the reality of it. Another thing that we should do, that men do, is we got to start being selective with dating. One thing I admire about men is that they truly know how to date better than we do. They truly do. See, a man will friend zone you, but the difference is they'll still sleep with you. And as women, obviously, most of us, we're not going to sleep with guys we're not attracted to. So, I mean, that's the difference. But a man can literally know that he doesn't see anything in you from day one and still sleep with you. And he knows how to keep his feelings out of it. We need to start being selective. Not in trying to be like them with sleeping with everyone, but being selective. So the difference is, because these men don't really have a whole lot of feelings attached, and we do, the way that we win and the way that we mimic them in that sense is that we are only selective. It's like, no, I'm not going to waste time with a guy who's got a girlfriend. That's stupid. I'm demeaning myself. That's dumb. I'm not going to get into that situation. Okay, so I hear this guy's a player. I'm not going to think that I'm special and this guy's going to stop being a player. Like, that is the dumbest way of thinking, and men do not think that way. A man will still sleep with the neighborhood hoe, but he knows that she's a hoe, so he's not going to expect anything out of her. Women will come across a guy with 5 baby moms and 10 kids and think that all of a sudden they're going to have a happily ever after. It's delusion. Stay out of the delusion, ladies. Stop it. We need to start thinking like men in ways that help them, especially when it comes to sex and dating. The difference is emotion. And so if this isn't making sense to you, I mean, I feel sorry for you, but I'm telling you literally the key. I read a book called The Unicorn Delusion. I recommend that. The Unicorn Delusion is written by a man, and he literally says that the 3 things women trick themselves into thinking are special are your looks, your vagina, and your personality. Those 3 things are not special to men. They're not. And so the way that we continue to be in our feminism and the feminist energy, right? The feminism. The way that we do that is we utilize our emotions, our intuition, our visions. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we can just literally have visions about things and it comes to fruition. And we literally embrace the emotional part about us. We embrace that and we be. Some of us are working too hard. Some of us are doing too much, especially when it comes to dating. Just be. And so when it comes to thinking like men, the feminist movement needs to understand that we are never going to be like men. And that is why we are women. That is why we should embrace being feminists. So to summarize this whole episode, my question to you is like, what do you think feminism is? And if you don't want to identify with feminism, womanism, that's like the experience of Black women, right? What do you think it is? What do you think it means to you? Because every woman's going to have a different feeling, a different definition. And there are some women who are pro sex, right? But as a woman of God, I can't agree with that way of living. I can't agree with you literally selling your soul and selling your body for profit and thinking that that's empowering you. Because I want to tell you the truth. It's not. You are degrading yourself. And men are okay with that. Men want the slut walk. Men want that. And not all men, but most men, they want to see you butt naked. And if they can get it for free, I mean, how is that hurting them? They're like, come on now. Even if they're not touching it, they love to look. You're giving them that opportunity for free. You're giving them that opportunity without even getting to know you. And feminism, ladies, is more than sexuality. I want us to go back to the original feminism and womanist days. Let's go back and let's stop trying to make sense of this new culture that's just all about self. And literally, it's just all about feeding your sins. When I think about opportunities for women, I just want for us to be able to live lives that are similar to men. What do I mean by that? I think that we should get paid the same amount they get paid if we're doing the same freaking work. I think that we should be able to go into workspaces and not feel like men are over talking us or not listening to us. I do think that as women, we should be able to vote and all these things that honestly we've already accomplished. And so when I think at this point of what more work can we do, I think that with movements like the Me Too movement, it's just allowing women to have voices the same way that men have voices and being able to get the same pay that men get paid. That's what I think we need to work on right now. That's what I think we could always continue to improve and really make sure that it's equal. But keep in mind, ladies, if we are really asking for equality with men, we're going to have to take the pros and the cons. We are. I already told you, there are some men who they can't even express themselves because as men, it's looked down upon. So it's like, if they can't express themselves, why should we? I mean, there are men who pay so much to get into clubs. If we get in for free, why can't they? We have to really start to question, what is equality? And that's why I don't want to say necessarily that I want to just be equal to men all the way. But when it comes to having a good life, that is something that I believe we should have the same chances of, the same way that men do. I love being a woman. And I used to say that I wanted to be a man because I did think that it was a man's world. And I still believe that it's a man's world if you want me to keep it real. But I think that women are making so many strides that I believe in the next, 10 years or so, you'll see a female president. You'll see more women in power. You'll see these things. And as long as we continue to walk in the ways that God has called women to walk in, then we'll be able to make these things shake and bake for our communities, for our generations, and it'll be a better definition of feminism. It definitely will. So you guys know that I always end off my episodes with the scripture, so let's get into it. The scripture is 1 Peter 3:3-4. And the message is, don't try to make yourselves beautiful on the outside with stylish hair or by wearing gold jewelry or fine clothes. Instead, make yourselves beautiful on the inside, in your hearts, with the enduring quality of a gentle, peaceful spirit. This type of beauty is very precious in God's eyes. So ladies, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys tell me your honest opinion on, what you think this episode meant for you. I love being a woman, and I'm so happy that women have continued to pave the way, but I don't want for us to get wrapped up in culture, making it seem like the only way that we can make it now is by showing our bodies and degrading ourselves. We are more than our bodies. We are minds. We are souls. And We have so much to offer this world aside from our looks. I don't want for womanhood to be erased. I don't want for, other people to think that, being a woman is just your body. That's not true. And I want for us to stop trying to mimic men when it comes to sex. We need to mimic them in other ways that have made them progressive, that have made them stronger in certain ways. And it's time for us to start, playing the game of life smarter when it comes to dating, especially. So I will definitely be back with another episode next week. I want you guys to know that there will not be an episode, I think March 21st. I'm going to give you guys a little break of my voice, but I'm already starting to film for season 2. I'm super excited, and I hope you guys have a great week. See you guys next Tuesday. Make sure you're following us also on Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is edifiedminds.podcast. TikTok is Edified Minds Podcast. All right, y'all. And oh my gosh, I almost forgot that this month I'm going to be having lives every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Instagram. So Instagram live every Thursday. Make sure you tune in. It starts this Thursday on the 9th. And every Thursday I'm going to have a guest. There are 4 different topics that I'm going to cover with them. So one's going to be fashion. I got a fashion influencer coming through. Therapy. I got my therapist coming through, my actual therapist, and I are going to have a conversation. I got one session about love with a love counselor, and then another about fitness with a personal trainer. So make sure you guys tune in, share that with your girlies, and yeah, make sure you follow us.